Raiders.
Here we are, Raider fans, Raider Nation. It's Raiders Pride and Poise. Your host, Raiders First Downs, JD, Jason, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me late for supper, I guess. Right? Hey, we're going to get into this. We got lots to talk about. It was a good week in Raider Nation. But first, I'm seeing a lot of mixed reactions right now. Some people think the Raiders haven't done enough. I completely disagree. I actually think the Raiders are making some smart moves. Calculated moves at this offseason. If you're not paying attention, you might be missing the bigger picture. For the way they handled free agency to bringing in Kirk Cousins and structuring that deal the right way, this feels like random. Like, did we see this coming from our organization? It's kind of cool, ain't it? It feels good. Feels like a plan. And today we're going to break down exactly what the Raiders are doing, why it makes sense, and what still needs to happen to take this team to the next level. So the real question isn't, are the Raiders doing enough? It's this. Are they actually building this thing the right way? I don't know. What's your take on it, Raider Nation? You let me know. We'll be in the chat. We'll be running hard. And let's get to it.
They tried to measure us by time, by place, by what already passed. But the Raiders were never history. They were built for what comes next. A man once said, the greatness of the Raiders is in its future. The shield was forged in commitment to excellence. No shortcuts, no explanations, only standards. Silver. Black. Forever. Just win, baby.
That's right. That's what we're looking for. Just win, baby. The commitment to excellence. But before we do those two things, we have to have a little pride and poise, right? And that's where we're at today. Friday morning, April 3rd, 2026. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started on the topics of the day and how we discuss things around here, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to those of you that are joining in the chat. Robert Pena, salute my brother. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your vacay. The skipper's in because he thinks I'll get mad at him if he doesn't watch my show. That's all right. I get mad at him for other reasons anyways. Jack, a legend of all, thanks for coming in. My partner from Show Me the Shield, Donuts Duncan. Salute, brother. Hope you're having a good day at work, man. Enjoy this lunch break. Get a little content, little saliva juices flowing with the topics that we're going to talk about. Tanner Jack, what's up, my guy? What's up, man? Thanks for coming in. I can always hold you true to your word. And D Menace, another guy. Thanks so much for coming in. But I really appreciate all you guys. But let's get this ball rolling, man. The big story, Kirk Cousins deal, details are wild, correct? Who had ever thought that the Raiders would go out and get a veteran quarterback to come in to us in the circumstances that we have? It's obvious we're looking to get the number one pick is going to be a quarterback, the quarterback, right? Who at his time in his career would want to go to a franchise that's been struggling as all get up for the last 6 years at least, and 20 years total, 25 years total since we had anything substantive to hang our hat on. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this deal real quick. So everybody so the deal is 5 years, $172 million. That's what's on the face cover, correct? But that's not actually what is going to transpire and how that deal is actually structured. It, in essence, is going to give us the opportunity to make ourselves where we can get out of it and not have pay a big penalty. Because as you guys all know, Kirk Cousins, man, he's the money bags of all time. You guys made more money in the NFL in contracts than Tom Brady. And Tom Brady played for how long? 20 years? 22 years? 21 years? And he's made how much more money? I mean, it's like $8 million more, I guess. I'd like to have his agent. I think Cheeto said it the best last night on the Raiders Coast to Coast. He said, I want that guy. Next time I go apply for a job, I'm taking him with me, to negotiate that deal. But in all essence, it's $20 million guaranteed, but Atlanta has to pay 8.7 of it. So this year, we're only going to pay 1.3. Next year, we have to pay him $10 million, whether he's on the roster or not. That's cool. That's an easy, low ball investment to bring a guy in when we're going to pick number one. We're going to pick Fernando number one, right? But are we? That's the question. Team Tradeback, if you're in here, let's hear you guys, what you got to say about whether or not we're going to pick Fernando Mendoza. I truly think that it would behoove the franchise to go ahead and just make the pick. Just pick the quarterback. The rest of that roster we can build. We've already built a lot of it through the draft. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but some of what we brought in has been fantastic. I don't really see us, not taking him in the big picture unless the offer is too good to be true. Correct. So I always had this discussion with my partner, 401 Raider Jeff. Salute to you, brother, out there from Raider Nation Voices, and we go back quite a ways doing this stuff. He invited me into the company to invest into his company, and I'm appreciative of it. I've enjoyed every bit of it. But one of the things I always tell him, because he was automatically trade back. Before the college season was over, before all the analysis and everything, trade back. That was last year, right? Trade back. I don't want you empty. Trade back. Get more picks. We need more picks. We have way too many holes on this team to not try and trade back. Well, first and foremost, you got to have a partner to trade back that's going to be reasonable, right? That's going to help your franchise. You just can't arbitrarily trade back. You got to have a partner. Okay. How far are you willing to trade back? That's another thing that you got to consider. Okay. And then on top of that is does a quantity of picks overweigh quality of picks? And as we're continuing through here, we got a lot more people popping in with the show, man. This having a great time. Salute to Sean Cavins 1742, longtime listener, first time chatter. Thanks for coming in, brother. I hope you enjoy the show. Hits Boy Radio, another one of the OGs from our franchise here. It's been great. Yeah, everybody welcome Sean Cavin. I believe he's new to the program. Give a shout out to him, man, coming in here, running into the lion's nest. Alex 951S, thanks for coming in, brother. Appreciate it. And so let's keep going here, man. Let's keep this conversation live. So the big story is what's the details of the of that trade. Structurally is basically a 1-year prove-it deal where we have total control over that contract, right? We're only committed to $20 million guaranteed. You're bringing in a guy that knows the Clint Kubiak system like the back of his hand, right? So he's going to come in and he's going to demonstrate to the young man how it's done. Now, we've had a discussion over mentoring. What does mentoring mean? A lot of veteran quarterbacks aren't cut out to be a mentor. They're not going to mentor. Mentoring, by definition, is basically teaching somebody front to back the ins and outs of the job, right? So you have somebody that mentors, tutors you, okay, so to speak. Setting an example as a leader and letting a young man follow is more classical as to what's going to happen. Okay. But I do think with Kirk Cousins, you're going to have that person that is going to mentor. He's going to. Okay. He's going to be that. He's that type of guy that's going to sit down with the young man in the film room, in the meeting room, even out on the practice field during during individual drills and 7-on-7, 7-on-9 team drills. He's still going to be having those conversations with Fernando. When Fernando does his reps, he'll help critique him a little bit so he has a better understanding. And then that way it allows Kirk Cousins to do it, to go out and do it. And so when he does his demonstrations, the quarterback coach can actually work with Fernando as to what is taking place, how the footwork is, how the alignments are, how to read what did Kirk see in that defense from a third person being able to walk up to Fernando and say, this is what he saw. Okay. Did you see it? What did you see? Let us know, get that input, that vibe, that conversation going. Right. So it's not all Kirk is going to have to focus on getting the team ready, getting the offense ready, and focusing on first team reps. Now he's going to also be have some of his reps are going to be taken away from him because why? We have to develop that. We have to develop that quarterback, that first pick, right? So there's some development that needs to take place. Not all of it is going to be on us to do. Fernando's going to have to do at least 80% of his own development, but we give him that 20% of nuggets that he could feed off of and get better and better. Now, I know the discussion is, and we'll get into it later. The discussion is, the value of the number one pick. I know there's a lot of argument based over that. I get it. I understand. And I agree with a lot of it. But there's always two parts to it. Okay. There's always a yin and a yang when it comes to whether or not that first pick, how you take a person, how you draft a person, and how you draft a position. Okay. The bottom line is, if that's the guy and you have the number one pick and that's the guy you want, you take him. You put 10 toes down and you go for it. Okay. The last thing I want my franchise to do is sit there and look at it and go, well, runs a lot of RPOs and I don't know. He does a lot of back shoulder. Do you think he can run an offense, lead 10 other guys on your team to go downfield and score touchdowns? And if you feel he can, you take him. I think he can. I think he can run a West Coast offense from under center. Just because he didn't do it that much in college, I still feel he can do it. Unlike some other people that I've seen that have come out of predominantly RPO offenses into the NFL and they struggle. They just don't get it. And it's just unnatural because from Pop Warner to high school to college, they've played quarterback a certain way. And you see it at every level. You see kids in high school that are phenomenal high school quarterbacks. And they get to college and they struggle because they can't do it at a college level because it becomes a little bit more intense, a little bit more dynamic, so to speak, to where they can't quite grasp the concepts. But the chat, this is not a desperate move. This is a calculated bridge quarterback play. I need some talking points. Throw them in there. The Raiders didn't just marry Cousins. They're dating him while they draft their future. Okay. This is just a date. Now, here's the pushback on it. Let's say hypothetically Kirk Cousins comes in here and knocks it out of the park as a starting quarterback for your Las Vegas Raiders. Let's say he comes out and knocks it out of the park. He just gets on a tear, right? He's slinging it. Him and Naylor, right? I think there's a little history there. Okay. Him and Naylor nail it out of the park. They're hooking up. They're slinging it. Him and Brock Bowers getting after it. Trey Tucker spinning a TD here and there. Having one of those 3 catches for 95 yards and 2 tutties. Gets after it. Let's just say that happens. And all of a sudden, it opens up with our team. And the Click Kubiak offense is just cooking. Genty is getting after it. Okay. He's clicking 75, 90, 110-yard games over and over and over again. And it's nonstop. Do we keep him? Do we go forward with him? With Kirk Cousins? We just drafted a number 1 quarterback out of college. Do we keep him? It's kind of a quandary we got into, didn't we? Could be good, could be bad. But based on Kirk Cousins' age and recent play, I don't think that's something that we look to carry into the future. This is a now move, not a future move. And his job basically is to come in, right the ship, and let the man start cooking. Let's think about that for a second. Here's an option by Donis Duncan. If Cousins plays well and Mendoza doesn't work out, we can trade Cousins. Gives us a little bit of draft capital, right? But who's going to take on his contract? That's what I want to know. Who's going to take on his contract? Because when that 5-year, $172 million kicks in, oh, Mr. Moneybags, might not make the other team want to make the trade because of that. So that's something to consider as well. Because even though the contract in and of itself is very friendly for us for the next year, going forward from that, if we lock ourselves into the life of that contract, it could set us back a little bit. But then again, you have an established veteran quarterback for 2 or 3 years, and you can just draft another quarterback, right? But is that wasting the number 1 pick if we take Fernando Mendoza? Now, I'm going to jump over to team trade back on their side. If that happens, yes, that was a waste of a pick. Absolutely should not have happened. So, having said that, do we have a plan? Is the plan in place? Is the draft plan, is it basically exposed? You tell me in the chat. Have we opened ourselves up to good, but also bad? Think about it. I just kind of explained it a little bit, right? And I'm sure if any of you guys out there that have been following this in the off season, that if we put ourselves in a position where we take Fernando at the number 1 spot, and Kirk Cousins does come in and start to give us, just a winning edge, which I don't really think is going to happen. He never really has done that, but it could happen. It could be because he has played for Clint Kubiak and he has had a lot of success with Kubiak, that all of a sudden we have a team that is just will probably be right. I don't want to get into the Rich Gannon effect, where we had Rich Gannon for 4 years at the end of his career, in essence, with, aging Hall of Fame receivers, a dynamic offense that was just explosive for 3 years. That was incredible, but you knew this wasn't going to last. The time was ticking on that. And I don't want to get back into the same position by bringing Kirk Cousins in. You see what I'm saying? But I'm also going to fall back as I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't think Kirk Cousins is that guy that can just ultimately make us Super Bowl contenders in 2026. Okay. I don't even think the roster is, well, I know for a fact this roster isn't built to be a Super Bowl contender in 2026. And if people there in Raider Nation think, oh, the Patriots did it, we could do it. Stop. First and foremost, the NFL gave the Patriots a very sweet schedule to play on last year. Okay. That's number one. Number two is all the stars aligned for them to get to the Super Bowl. They didn't have the Patrick Mahomes Kansas City team to compete against in the playoffs. They didn't have the Lamar Jackson high-flying Ravens to play in the playoffs, accompanied by a defense that could be gnarly. Now, granted, Baltimore's defense ain't the same as it was 2-3 years ago. But still, he really didn't. Drake May didn't have that. So, first and foremost, Raider fans, do not compare us to what New England did this year. That's an anomaly. Okay? It's not going to happen. Sure. All signs are pointing to quarterback Fernando Mendoza going number 1. We had the number 1 pick. And Fernando Mendoza is going number 1. Now, team trade back. Here we go. Somebody comes in and gives us a haul. Sometimes that haul is just way more important than the 1 pick itself. I agree. I said you have a plan before you trade back. Okay? What's the plan? Well, we just put one piece of the puzzle together this week with Kirk Cousins that maybe that plan is to run with the veteran quarterback, develop Caleb Rogers, Charles Graham, Jack Besh, Dante Thornton, Ashton Genty, because they need development too, correct? They need some run, they need some rep, they need a little juice flowing, right? So maybe that might be the plan. I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not. I like Fernando Mendoza. I like what he did this year in Indiana. I liked him at Cal. But sometimes the bigger picture is better and brighter than just a sketch, a diagram. But I think long term though, also you can bring in a Fernando Mendoza with a Kirk Cousins and develop that whole roster the same way, even bringing him in. Now, mind you, we trade back, get a couple extra first-round picks this year, second-round pick, another first-round pick next year. Okay? Well, the first-round pick next year ain't going to help us this year. You know that, right? Okay. So as long as we agree on that it's not going to help us this year, we still can think about it, right? It will help us in the future. But let's say we draft 2 yahoos in the first round that don't cut it. And then Fernando Mendoza goes to a franchise and he just uncorks holy heaven and becomes Rookie of the Year, passes for 3,800 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He has a close to a winning record with that franchise. Brought that franchise back up off the mat, made them relevant. Do we kick ourselves in the head for not taking him? Because I think we could have done a lot better with him. Because you gotta admit, you gotta picture this. We have put in place probably some of the best coaching that we've had in 26 years. hands down. I'm not going to argue. It was the hiring of Clint Kubiak, in turn bringing in Rick Dennison, who I hate that guy. I hated him when he was with Denver, but he's one of us now. And his track record alone, I would put him. I would literally put him in the top 10 all-time offensive line coaches in the history of the NFL. That's saying a lot, don't you think? So let me hear what you guys got to say, man. Let's see what it is. So, like we talked about earlier, New England had the easiest road to the Super Bowl I've ever seen. Exactly, D. Menace. It was like they were playing. How do I explain this? It literally they had the shot at the AFC's weakest playoff teams. So it wasn't that hard. 805 Raider, thanks for coming in, brother. Hope you're having a good day. I hope I don't cause you too much grief today. And no, I don't yell at you. So quit your crying. I love you, brother. Salute, brother Yaya. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it. Sean Cavan here. Only team that is worth dealing with the Jets, but they have to love Fernando. They have picks this year and next year. Yeah, you know, I had mentioned this early on when we started to discuss this in the offseason, is that the Jets really are the only team that holds a chunk of draft capital that we would like to get. And I know it's only going from 2 to 1, but if they want Fernando that bad, they will do it. Here's a flip side to it, though. I don't think the Jets give away, and they did, or they basically gave away probably the best cornerback, top 5 defensive tackle on their team, and trade those guys away for draft capital with the intent of just turn around and flipping that draft capital just for one player. To me, that doesn't make sense. But then again, the Jets never make sense. So if they come in here and they tell the Spy Tech, hey, we'll give you our 2, let's swap 1 and 2, we'll give you 14 or 16, I think it is 16 that they have. We'll give you the 33rd, which is the first pick in the second round, which in essence is a first round pick. And then we'll give you next year's number 1, our next year's number 1, not the other one, because they have additional first round picks next year. But we get theirs, the one that they earn. So when they suck next year, like they're going to, no matter what, when they suck, we'll have a top 3 pick. Right. So it kind of gives us better odds of maybe getting us a quarterback next year, but you can't count on that. You know, and I know you cannot bank that you are going to get a quarterback at the top of the draft next year. You can't. Well, we got all these picks. We could just trade up. Well, just trade up. What are you going to trade up with? Well, we just trade up. What are you going to trade up with? We ain't even got there yet, but you're going to collect all this draft capital with the intent that we can just trade up. No, because you might be left hanging. You might be left hanging with those extra picks and can't get up to the first round. Or get up to the top of the draft. You know why? Because the 3 guys that are picking 1, 2, and 3, they need a quarterback too. And by golly, they're not gonna trade back unless maybe the number 3 guy goes, "Hey, I wanted one of those 2 guys. I'm not sold on the 3rd guy, but you are, so we can trade." Now we're trading draft capital to get 1 guy, right? Most of your good teams that draft, when they pick at the point of which they earned it, and they go and they address the draft how they earned it. We earned the number 1 pick. So therefore we have to draft accordingly. Usually when you're picking number 1, you're looking for what? An elite edge rusher, a can't miss showstopper of an edge rusher. a can't miss left tackle, an embodiment, a fluid embodiment of somebody that is an absolute Joe Alt. I'll use him as an example. Could have been a number one pick in this draft. He would have been a number one pick, hands down. But the draft that he was in had more skill players that were rated just a little bit higher. So therefore, he kind of fell back a little bit. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you're picked, how you perform when you get there. Right? And here's another thing, too, that I might have missed as well. Sometimes number one picks become a little entitled because they're the number one pick. They get to their NFL franchise that select them at the number one, and they feel they're already the becoming of the next movement of the NFL. And they ain't done nothing. Hence, that's why we have the collective bargaining agreement the way we have it now. If you guys remember, not too long ago, that number one pick that was a quarterback, he wanted more money than any other quarterback that's already playing in the NFL. So, yeah, in the long run, is the draft plan basically exposed? I don't know. But I can tell you this, to me, it seems like, and based on what I'm hearing from Clint Kubiak, little tea leaves that are dropped along the way during these conversations that he has with the media, is the plan is the perfect world is to have a veteran quarterback that can lead the team and have your rookie quarterback stand by and absorb like a sponge what it's going to take it to the next level. Because we all know you can actually watch a Brett Favre or a Joe Montana or somebody to that effect that is Hall of Fame status and you're behind them, you can absorb what they're doing and make you a better player. Uh, 805 once again accusing me. You're always yelling at me. At the point I accept nothing less. Hashtag team trade back. There we go. Hashtag team trade back. Where's the rest of your crew? Let's hear it from them. I want to know who wants to trade back. But we also can consider this too, some tea leaves that were dropped in conversations. As you know, Indiana had their pro day this week. Here's my take on the pro day. I'm gonna be straight honest with you, Raider Nation. For those of you that are going, wow, pump the damn brakes. It's a pro day. A college pro day is nothing more than a pregame workout, pregame warm-ups. If you ever go to an NFL game, go in an hour before the kickoff and sit in the stand with a nice cold 805 beer, frothy at the top, like a little froth in my mustache, and sit there and watch the warm-ups. Watch how the quarterbacks are throwing the ball. Okay? Usually it starts out the running back or the wide receivers, they get a little stretch, get a little warm in the hammies, a little warm in the thighs, a little warm in the ankles. They're jaunting about half speed to maybe 3/4 speed. And the quarterback's nonchalant, rolling the ball out to him. And then as they start to pick up the intensity, because the intensity of pregame warm-ups is greater than what you'll ever see at a pro day. Pro day, you're going to have nerves, a lot of nerves, because you're basically up on stage with the crowd watching you that you're not used to for a practice. Right? So practice is different. Practice intensity is different than game intensity by far. But pregame warm-ups have a little intensity to it. You got fans filtering into the stadium. You got the smell of a brand new jersey on your body. You got brand new wristbands. Your mouthpieces fitting just right. Chin straps on. You got your helmet. You're getting ready for battle. You're sharpening that knife to get ready and go after it. Okay. So that's when you really want to pay attention. How is that quarterback really doing in pregame warmups? Last game I went to was Allegiant Stadium against Pittsburgh. They had Justin Fields. That guy in pregame warmups was atrocious. I was sitting there looking, going, you guys are one of the Steeler fans in front of me. I go, that's your starting quarterback. I go, the only thing he's hitting are the pylon. I'm serious. I don't know how many times they were practicing corner routes or out routes towards the end zone, and he would hit the pylon, knock it over. And I think at one point the receivers were fed up of going out and warming up. I don't even think they were trying to catch the ball anymore because it wasn't even worth trying to catch his ball. Beer is no bueno for testosterone levels. Yeah, but it sure does calm the nerves when you're sitting in the stands watching the team warm up. So it's kind of a pregame ritual of mine. I like to sit there and watch the quarterbacks warm up, see how the linemen are moving, things like that, especially some of the guys that may be on the injury report, see if they're taking it, how they're handling it. 805 coming in. The Cousins pickup makes sense. Potential out after one season, but the terms of 5 years has me a little confused. Yeah, me too. It's almost as if it's like false advertisement, the 5-year 172. But I think what happens is that portion of the contract gets triggered if we decide to move on with him in 2020, keep him on the team in 2027, which would be a really expensive take for somebody that is supposed to be the backup to our number one pick. And I don't know if you were in here earlier, 805, but I had mentioned something about, to be quite honest with you, this is a slippery slope that we kind of went down with this signing Kirk Cousins, because if for some reason he accidentally, and I say accidentally because he hasn't done it yet in the NFL, but let's say he accidentally takes this team in 2026 and makes them legitimate playoff contenders. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Everybody going to be running out there. JD said, now stop with that BS. I'm just using a hypothetical here because I want you guys to think for just a minute. I know some of you, it's difficult, but for the most part, just think about it for just a second. If he does climb that ladder as a starting quarterback, and we just took the number one pick in this year's draft, and we go, okay, do we try and run it back with him in 2027 like this? Or do we go, we got to bite the bullet. We picked him in the number one pick. We got to run with him. It's kind of what Minnesota did. Yeah. Had a nice veteran backup in Sam Darnold. Was killing it. But they drafted J.J. McCarthy. All right. And now J.J. McCarthy, a lot of people are confused about this. J.J. McCarthy didn't sit behind Sam Darnold. Okay. J.J. McCarthy at Allegiant Stadium in a preseason game tore his ACL. So he lost his rookie season to injury. So he had more focus on rehabbing an injury than he did learning the position. And the Vikings banked on it. Cost that GM his job. But they banked on that J.J. McCarthy was going to be better than Sam Darnold. And they're, instead of running it back with Sam Darnold again, paying the man what he earned and running it back, they went with J.J. McCarthy. Say 2025 was kind of a bad year for the Vikings. And now they're not even sold on him. There's rumors out there that they want to trade him. It's like, you only had him 2 years. Want to trade him? Well, you should have known when he only threw for 58 yards in the national championship game for Michigan. There might be a problem. Okay. I watched some of his games. I'm sure 805 watched some of his games. Some of you guys out there probably watched. It wasn't like he was the focal point. And he had more issues than what you think. Now I'm sure 805 is going to come in here and say, yep, that's the same thing with Fernando. right? Man, not really. I think they're two different vegetables in that one. Brother, yeah, got to pull the trigger now. LV Super Bowl 29. I like it, man. Yeah, now's the time to build this franchise up. We're going to be hosting the Super Bowl in 2029, and what a better way than we got a 3-year plan. We want to be in the Super Bowl in 3 years and do it at home. Drop that silver and black confetti right here on Allegiant Stadium. I can see it happen. D Menace, yeah. Hey, you guys that are in here, man, hit those like buttons, subscribe, leave a comment. You know, if you think there's something I could add to this program for you, plug it in, man. I'm all ears. Robert Payne giving salutes out. Team trade back equals team I'm scared to fail. Yep. I'm kind of in the same boat. Well, I ain't gonna say kind of. I am in the same boat. Like I said earlier, we earn a position. We earn the right to pick at number 1. Nobody can tell us who to pick. We get to pick who we want. We don't have to wait for no draft board to fall to us. We don't have to wait for, well, I hope this guy. No. We can pick whoever we want at number 1. But what do we pick? I think we pick any of the top 3 in the categories that you would pick at number 1. A dynamic edge rusher. There isn't one in this draft. An absolute stud left tackle. Not here this year. And a championship caliber, championship pedigree quarterback that has the tools, that has the moxie, the character, the drive to be a franchise quarterback, the drive to lead a franchise to a championship level. Take him. Gotta be quite honest with you. If we do take him and he doesn't succeed, it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. Blaming the organization. Which I'm confident right now with the people that we have in place in this organization can set the tone and set the dynamics and make us fortified as a winning franchise. Bring that quarterback in and start to build around it. So the quarterback doesn't have to be the whole thing, the entire engine of the car. Okay. He could be the fuel delivery system, right? The fuel injection. And you guys know cars. He could be the fuel injection. You know, the offensive line could be the bottom end of the motor. You know, the top end of the motor could be the wide receivers, the running backs, the skilled players. But I think you have to run it with a quarterback. That's me. It's my opinion. You can yell at me if you want. Call me stupid if you want. But I think that you got to do it. We there's no more kicking the can down the road, guys. We've done that too long as a franchise. You got to at least take a stab at it. At least other franchises are doing that. You know, if you draft a quarterback with the first pick this year, in a couple years, you feel like he's not worthy of it, do it again. Get another quarterback. Anybody in here sold on the quarterbacks coach? Because we keep hearing, oh, there's going to be a boatload of quarterbacks next year worth picking. Why take Fernando when we can name one quarterback coming out next year that played better than Fernando this year? Name one. And I'm talking totality of it. Name one. Yeah, Big Roz, technically it's a 1-year deal with Kirk Cousins. which I really, really like it. It's a nice investment to go forward with the plan that we have in place. I truly believe that they want Cousins to start and let Mendoza learn behind him. I'm not a fan of sitting the first overall pick. Usually, yes, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of sitting the first overall pick. I agree with that. I agree with it. But at the same time, now let's say the number one pick at a different position. And it's absolute that guy's got to be in there day one. Day one. Getting slapped around, cutting his chops the hard way. You got to do that. But with a quarterback, see, there's more to it with the quarterback than just getting him out there and getting his uniform dirty and getting the juices flowing, getting game time reps. Okay, there's more to it than that. And a lot of it has to do with the preparation. I'm confident in Mendoza's preparation. Just like Coach Signetti said this week when he was interviewed, that he has never seen a college quarterback prepare and put as much effort into the weekly game plan and preparation as Fernando Mendoza. Now, he's a used car salesman. That's his guy. That's his kid. He wants him to go number one, so he's gonna tote the company line. He's gonna be dynamic. He's gonna say, "Hey, this is the greatest guy since sliced bread, guys. You guys got to draft him." Because what's that do? That fosters his and makes his program look that much better when the number one pick comes from his school, right? But we can't sell ourselves short either. So having that safety net, so to speak, of having Kirk Cousins there makes it that much better, and it makes it it brings it to a competition level. What was one of the things that Derek Carr suffered with us in 9 years? Because we had him. I thought and I'm not going to, you can be pro Carr, you can be negative Carr, all you want. Okay. But I can tell you this, he gave us 9 years of steady quarterback play. Somebody that we can say, that's our quarterback. Okay. But so what's the one thing that he didn't have? He didn't have anybody to come in behind him to push him at all. Can you imagine if in 2017 we drafted a quarterback in the first round and basically put the writing on the wall of, hey, Derek, you don't get your crap together, that kid right there's got your job. Think Derek would have stepped up his game a little bit more after 2017, going into 2018? I think so. And I think Derek had a hard time dealing with hard coaching, because when Gruden came in, he coaches hard. He could be a little bit of a disaster, a little bit of a hurricane coming in after his quarterbacks when he's coaching them up. But he's not doing it to be a jerk. He's doing it to make them better. And that's one of the things that I like about Fernando Mendoza. You don't think Kirk Signetti didn't coach that kid hard? Good Lord. I bet you he threw rocks at him in practice. Old school way, the way we played. I don't know about you. I had a coach carried extra chin strap with extra buckles on the end of it. He'd put the buckles on the end of the chin strap and he carried it in his pocket. And if you screwed up, he'd walk up to you in the next huddle and smack you in the ear hole with that thing. And I still have tinnitus from it. He didn't do that because he didn't like you. He did it because he wanted you to be better. At the time, you're thinking, nah, the coach doesn't like me. He just wants to hit me in the helmet with the chin strap. Oh, well. Big Ross coming in. Unless he takes us to the Super Bowl, I think he gets let go. If he looks amazing, then it makes it so we can possibly trade him. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Big Ross. The only thing is I think the tradable portion of his contract puts us on the hook for a lot of money. It would be better for us that if we're going to move off of him, we just move off of him. I don't think any team is going to trade for him with that contract, because it's a 5 year. It's 5-year, 172. I don't know where the triggers are on the contract. I don't have it with me. I'm just assuming, but you know what assuming means? You take the word assume and ask you and me, right? So we'll have to see how it lays out later on down the road. And I'm sure Spot Track should have an updated version of it sometime soon. Once it's signed and in the books and posted with the NFL. Brother Yaya coming in. Duncan and Yaya have a nice little conversation back and forth. Big Roz. The coach never wanted him in the first place. That's why the GM was let go. I think we're talking about the Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy thing. Get to your take a little bit late, but let me know if that just put it on all in caps on your next chat, and that'll let me know so we can bring that back. But I'll try and remember that as we go. Bueno, what is up, my guy? Hope all is good. I promise not to be a jerk to you today. I know sometimes I could be a jerk to Bueno, but Bueno's one of the OGs. Love the guy. Donna's Duncan still at lunch, or he's watching and listening without his boss knowing. Don't worry, I won't tell. Jack Kennett walking in. Salute, brother. Hey, don't forget when you guys go to Bakersfield, I need a phone. I need you the day before to let me know what time you're going to be passing through. I'm going to hook you guys up. Trust me. Big Ross, smash that thumb, those likes, ring those bells, set the notification to all. Okay. This isn't the only show that I do. I come in Saturday nights, hot and heavy. Me and 401 Raider Jeff rocking it Saturday night with Raider Nation Voices call-in show. Allows you guys to dial that number, call in, so you don't have to sit there and be pressing and texting and all that good stuff. We can actually hear your sweet voice. Just so you guys know, that show is taking off. Okay. We're going chat status. We're taking that to the next level. We'll probably be on the moon before Artemis 3. Brother Yaya, bueno, salute. Donut Duncan, not much, just listening to this loon from work. Yeah, I have a tendency to make the conversation a little bit better than some of the yahoos you have to work with. 805. If we pick Mendoza, Kirk won't be here next season with that contract. If Kirk knows that, why offer him the contract? And Kirk agreed at 5-year. I realize I could be overthinking it, but still strange. I'm trying to make sense of it too as well. But I think what it does is if for some reason, out and out reason, that he performs it in such a way that the Raiders are like backed into a corner with him and want to move forward, then it triggers the 5 years, which would be an additional 4 years. And then his base salary would jump like crazy with a bunch of guarantees. And of course, we'll be right back in quarterback purgatory because now we're playing with a guy that's average to middling at best. So it just, I think the way that they have it structured, 805, and the way it is, and I think we're both seeing eye to eye. This is a 1-year deal. This is it. And I'm sure Kirk knows that. But you know what? Also, too, you come in, you play good for Kubiak, and you rock it and sock it, and they cut you loose next year in March. I've seen it. I've seen the work that your agent has done. Don't you think you can't get another guy or go somewhere else and get it? I mean, there comes a point in time, Kirk Cousins, you got to realize you're not going to get all the money that you've been getting. Okay. It just ain't happening. You're not getting that $75 million contract. That just ain't happening. But there might be a team, a franchise out there that, let's say their superstar quarterback goes down with a significant injury at the end of the year and is willing to pay you $25-30 million to come in and right the ship for them. Being that hired hand journeyman. I mean, who wouldn't want to go and sign $25 million contracts year in and year out, all guaranteed money for the next 3 or 4 years. And okay, you go play here, you go play there, you go play there. It's basically all you've done anyways is just play. I mean, you really haven't solidified yourself as a Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, granted, you got a really good resume, bunch of 4,000-yard passing seasons, lots of touchdowns, some good wins. I can't think of a signature win that you have, but some good wins, somebody that's trustworthy. Basically a glorified backup is Kirk Cousins. He's a glorified backup. But we need him because we need that veteran. And it's just a safety net. Okay. Hell, for all we know, AOC could come in the offseason and Clint Kubiak goes, we should have just ran with this guy. Duh. We don't know. But having said that, what we're paying for Kirk Cousins, even if AOC steps up, he's on a rookie deal. Not going to hurt us. Because if you look at it from a standpoint of your total investment as a franchise, every franchise pretty much allocates how much money they're going to spend on the quarterback room. Right? If you take all 3 of our quarterback salaries this next year, and put it together, it ain't even going to equal what we paid Geno Smith last year for one guy. So to have 3 pieces of cake versus one sour piece of pie, I say it's a great investment myself. Now, bueno, JD, is there any way you can look up teams that stockpiled first-round picks and see how much of an impact those picks made for the teams? Specifically, no. I've been dying to do that. It's going to take a lot of work because most of your AI chat GTP, they don't put the correct information in. I don't really, when it comes to that stuff, I don't really trust chat GTP with their information. You really have to go to specific websites and dig, and then create you a chart. What's that program that I use? It's on the Macintosh that I use, and you take those and you start building your columns and your rows and start putting stuff together that way, and that'll give you a better idea. 805 or team tradeback equals I've done my homework. Yeah. Doesn't mean you got an A on it. I used to do my homework all the time. Turn it in. Still ended up with B's and C's. Here's another team trade back will be in full effect for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing team trade back at the draft. I wish I could be there. I was planning on going until I got the proverbial, your daughter's getting married this year, just so you know. So it's not that I can't go, but it's probably smart from an aesthetic point of view of not going and using that money towards her wedding. I think there's more important things, and my daughter's wedding is very, very important to me. So, Alex, what up, big Carno? Thanks for everybody. Because the 5-year contract makes it look like he got a great deal. It's all about how the contract looks. Yeah, I don't even know. Chat, if you guys are anywhere near Google or anything, go to Spot Track and see if that contract has been posted yet, and see kind of what the do's and don'ts of it are. I know some of it could be misleading. Bueno coming in. I have a feeling a lot of the first rounders fails more than what people think. I believe the percentage is right about 30% succeed of the first rounders. Is right about there, and year to year changes, so that number kind of goes up and down, because some years you'll have drafts where like 20 of the guys that were drafted in the first round are all top notch, either Pro Bowl, all pro in that caliber range. And then you have some that you just have a lot of duds, and it just doesn't matter where, if you're picking first or 32nd in the first round, you still are, it's a huge gamble. Raider Nation for Life, good sports media is pretty good. Yep. Mendoza equals the Ford Edsel. Yeah. And trading back for 2 picks is equivalent to a Prius. Big Rise, do you think you're tricking Cousins into a good deal? I think his agent is smarter than that with his history. Yes, Kirk Cousins has the best agent of all time. How that guy has got a bag like he has had over the years. Good God. Let's see. More often than not, stockpiling picks doesn't work. If you ask most GMs in the NFL, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you the quality of the pick is better than the quantity of the pick. Now, I'm going to defend 805 for just a second. Do I think Fernando Mendoza is worthy of the number 1 pick? Let's just say hypothetically, we don't know who the team is. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you the team that's picking number 1. It could be anybody, not just us, but anybody, right? On any given draft, is he worthy of the number 1 pick? I say he's not. He's not. But where does he fall? Because I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter where you're picked. It's what you do after you get picked. I think a lot of people are scared of where Mendoza is and where we are. Earlier I said we earned the right to pick number 1, right? We picked the worst, probably the worst draft to do it. Much like the Jamarcus Russell draft. We could have had Calvin Johnson in that draft, but we wouldn't have had anybody to throw him the ball. I first round, believe it or not, first round, you gotta pick where you earned it. You really do. The only movement I would really do in the first round is if you're so far back, 27, 28, 29, and you want to get up to 13 to get a guy. You give up a little bit of draft capital to get up there, because let's face it, if you're picking at 27, your team's already locked in anyways. Picking 28, 29, your team is locked in. It's what's next year. The Rams did that. They're like, we've already got a kick-ass team. What do we need the 29th pick for? But I like that guy up there at 14, right? Or I like that cornerback that plays for Kansas City. He'd be really good. And I know they're not wanting to pay him what we'll pay him. So why not trade that pick? We're not in that position. And we're not in a position to bypass prospects that could be blue chip, all out, game changing players. Is Fernando Mendoza a game changing player today? Maybe not. Could he be tomorrow? Absolutely. And that's where I'm betting. I'm hitting on 16. I'm hitting on 17 on that one. I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to take my chance at getting 21, flipping a 21. I'm going to take my chance because I got to that point and I earned it. Jack Can, why take a chance on a QB in 2027 draft when you got Mendoza right there, right now? Mendoza all day long. And it's not so much the Mendoza effect in and of itself and the fact that it's Fernando Mendoza, okay? It's the fact that if for some reason, and we all want our team to play better than last year, we got better coaches, we've improved immensely in the free agency. Okay. Just on and this is on paper, okay? And we're not paper champions, but just on paper, there's at least 3 to 5 more wins than what we had last year. Okay, so you're looking 6 to 8 wins. Okay, just based on the coaching staff, the changes that we made, and the people that we brought in, and how we set ourselves up in the draft. Okay, it's going to be that much better because number one, we're not going to have the freaking nepotism of Johnny Boy coaching for his dad, coaching offensive line that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's done. I've already addressed it. Rick Dennison is probably a top 10 offensive line coach of all time in the NFL. He literally came from the foundation of the wide zone concepts. So when you see other teams try to run the wide zone running game, they're only trying to do it. He came from the creation of it. He came from the godfather of that scheme. So he knows it like the back of his hand. He can coach it. So that we gotta hang our hat on that alone. And just like they said this week in the press conference with I believe it was Spytech, that said that, you know, with Colton Miller and Charles Grant and DJ Glaze, they're pretty happy with what they have. That's because they must see something that makes them feel that they can do what they want to get to accomplish, what they want to accomplish with those 3 guys. Now, we brought in that kid from San Francisco, Burford, to play guard, okay? And he was a backup at San Francisco. But he played good. He played a lot last year, and he did fairly well. I mean, he wasn't the greatest, but he played fairly well. And I had said last year too that while I was watching our offensive line with the Kappa, Meredith, all that stupidity, you know, Forsyth, all those guys, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know, there are NFL teams out there that have backup linemen that are better than what we're putting out there as starters. But in conjunction was our coaching staff as well. Kenna, facts. Yes, and you know, to be quite honest with you, even with the guys that are team trade back, I know deep down inside they see the same thing too. That there's some people that are, oh, we trade back, we get more picks, we can add the draft capital next year, we can go get our quarterback. Are you banking on that? I'm not. Why would you? Let's go back to the Caleb Williams draft. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Of those 3 teams right there, did you think any of them were going to trade back? Do you think any of them were, oh, we can get 18 first-round picks for this? No, we want a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We want a quarterback. We like this quarterback. We're going to take this quarterback. You know, not everybody can have a Herschel Walker trade. Those are rare. Let's talk about the Ricky Williams trade. Didn't do much for either team. And there's been history. There's historically, those trades don't turn out for both franchises the way that they're intended to. It's an anomaly. So, in theory, just like every other GM will probably tell you in the NFL, you pick where you earn. Okay, you might move up if you're in the middle of the round, move up a couple spaces, move back a couple spaces. But you don't go from 10 to 25 unless at 10 you're like, okay, the guy that we want is still going to be there at 25. We can pick up some extra draft capital, but we're still going to be good with what we have, even before the draft. So they're not hanging their whole franchise on. They have to hit it in the draft. This is where we come in, and with that mindset. The number 1 pick, what we pick at number 1, isn't going to matter. It's where we pick at 36, 67, 102. Those 3 picks is what's going to matter. Those are the most important picks because those are the nucleus of your team. Those are the guys that are going to be your workmen, your lunch pail type players that are going to make your team that much better. I'm okay with Mendoza sitting for 3 years. Spytech wants to build this team right, and it takes that long to put Mendoza in position. 3 years is way too long. For the first pick in the draft, that's way too long. And really, in all honesty, the number 1 pick should start day 1. He should. But you don't have to be a he should. But there's going to be a point in time, week 6, week 7, you better get him out there. Because if you don't, not only are the fans going to be questioning the general managers and the coaches, but the owner of that team is going to be questioning it too. Because that's his gig is up as well. When he's the owner of the team and you're picking number 1, he wants to know, I get it. Mark Davis is not the greatest of football minds, but he ain't stupid enough to realize that, hey, we picked this guy number 1. Why is he still sitting on the bench? And better yet, why is he the emergency backup? Make this make sense. That shouldn't happen. He should be up and running no later than week 6 of the season. He should be ready to go. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to take the hot hand away. So let's say Fernando is ready, but Kirk Cousins is just wheeling and dealing. It's week 7, and we're 4-2 going into the game, and it's week 7, and he's just wheeling and dealing. You can't pull him. You keep going. Basically, what I'm saying to you guys is if we roll like Kirk Cousins and he gets hot until he goes cold, Fernando's going to have to sit there and just wait. And it's only temper. It's not something that you're going to say. I wouldn't say 3 years. Okay. I wouldn't say 3 years is way too much. Way too much. That's you're even colleges aren't going to wait that long. Breaking news. Jason Downs predicts Raiders playoffs. Did I say we were going to make the playoffs? Be nice. I'm not that dumb. I'm not making bold predictions. Not today. Anyway. Cousins' contract is $1.3 million and $10 million next year. Then he is gone. Yep. The $10 million will be a signing bonus, so no cap hit. Actually, you will take a cap hit. You just don't give people money and not have it fall under the cap. Eventually, all money paid out ends up under the salary cap at some point or another. It's just a signing bonuses is cash money that goes out, and then it reports and gets deducted. But you can I believe you can spread out a signing bonus over multiple years. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Duncan, if you're in here, kind of give me a heads up on that, exactly what. I know back in the day, a salary, if you gave a signing bonus, you could do it, I think, 2 years or 3 years. You could spread it out over 2 or 3 years against the cap. But that has to be money that has to be paid out now. 805 Raiders says, great contract for the Raiders, knowing you have a clear out after this season. Shit contract for Cousins if the plan is to get rid of him. Old QB probably on his last contract if he plays like trash. Well, and I think some of that too, 805, has to do with what happened in Atlanta. Because he didn't really live up to his expectation. He really hasn't lived up to his expectations of any of his contracts that he had. But what happened in Atlanta, and he underperformed immensely under that contract. And so other teams, the other 31 franchises are going to be a little bit leery about doling out that kind of cash for him because he's on the downside. He's coming down. He's not getting better. He's slowing down. But I still think there's enough juice in him to make us formidable this next year. Just as long as he doesn't do like Gino and because Kurt can be a little generous with the football with other teams. And yes, the $10 million will be dead cap space in 2027, so it will affect us for the next cap year. But based on the percentages of how the cap is going up, and now mind you, the NFL has already taken the doubleheader Monday night games out. No more doubleheader Monday night games. Some of those games are going to fold into the streaming. And so these streaming services are going to be able to bid on those games to produce and air those games. So Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, they're going to have a chance to have isolated games, which I wish the NFL would knock that crap off, but I know why they're doing it, because it's a huge money grab just for one isolated game. There's two different options to get out of the contract for free. First option is between years 3 and 4, and the second option is between years 4 and 5. I've confirmed it yet, but that's what I've seen. Yeah, until it gets published on the Spot Track. Now, even then, I don't think they put the exact. I think they just with Spot Track they just put the overall values and what the yearly values are and what the cap hit would be for the team based on those years. Kirk is on the books the 5th day of the new year, 2027. 80 million is fully guaranteed. Okay, so I'm understanding that somebody has done a research and looked it up. I be quite honest with you at this point, I just know based on I don't know. I'm going by what's reported. That it's basically a 1 year, $20 million guaranteed. We pay the 1.3 this year on top of the 8.7 that Atlanta will pay him. So he gets $10 million this year guaranteed. That's locked in. And then the other 10 million will be a thank you for your services handshake that we'll put towards the 2027 cap, even if he's not on our team. Which $10 million for a guy to come in and give us 1 year of stability, because we got to paint the overall picture, right? We got to build the whole franchise. It's not just one player. Got to build the whole franchise and basically make it to where if we take Fernando at number 1, that when he steps out there, that we've done everything we can to build it for him. Now you go with it. And then keep on building it from there. It's not just going to be this 2026. It's not just going to be the only year we're building this franchise. 2027 is going to be another year, another round of free agency. There's going to be another round of drafting. Hopefully, we're drafting somewhere between 12 and 18, preferably 18. Means we're being a little bit more successful, right? So that's kind of the where we want to be. Let's see. Got some shout outs here, some chats back and forth. Raiders Unleashed. Thanks for coming in, brother. By the way, I saw you popped up. Grabbed your chat real quick, talked about it before I gave you the salute, but nonetheless, salute, brother. Well deserved. Robert P., my absolute brother, salute. And then here we have another one from the boss. 2027 roster bonus, 10 million guaranteed due to the third league day. 2027, 80 million of future salary becomes fully guaranteed at the 5th league day if he's still on the roster on the 5th league day of 2027. So that means that probably day 4 is when he's getting cut. Jack Kenna Unleashed. I think we just read this one. Everybody talking to each other, but nobody wants to talk to me. That's fine. Depending on where it's made. Homework is for those that don't know the subject matter of the test. Oh, good God. This is starting to become a Hatfield and McCoy on the internet. For those of you that don't know, 805 is probably one of the best Raider content creators that we have out there. And if anybody hasn't seen his show, Wednesday nights, Real Talk Raider Nation, also on Sunday nights as well, it is phenomenal. And it's phenomenal because he has Chris from Protected Shield and Severe on there. Those guys are what make it phenomenal. Just kidding. 805. No, he's a good dude, man. You guys go watch his show. He's hardcore, down-to-earth Raider fan that does a lot of film breakdown. Caught my eye on a couple of things that he brought forward that I wasn't, I didn't really pay attention to, but there were some things that I picked up on that he didn't either. So, but my impression, my take on it is there's too many factors built into that kid to say no. You got to say yes. I'm sorry. And other people here that have their opinions, but good one, Jason. But history tells me I typically get A's. Love how it's now documented on YouTube. Yes, it is. It is memorialized. Oh yeah. I hit your chat earlier, but I didn't give you the shout out. Michael Guerrero, shout out, brother. You one of a kind. If anybody gets a chance this November to go vote for Michael Guerrero, please do. Rorschach in the house. What's up, my brother? I am at work, busy as F, but I did hit them thumbs and I do subscribe, and I want to put I'm Not Bueno on a timeout. Well, all you got to do is unplug the refrigerator. That should work. Jason Down said, Kirk taking us to the promised land. Did I say he was taking us to the promised land? I'm giving hypotheticals. I'm letting you guys decide. I can come in here and give my freaking opinion all day long. Is it going to matter? Is it going to change you? No. We're here to discuss, debate. Have it what it is. Let it be what it is. Rorschach Raider giving a salute out to Jeff. I don't know why. Jeff don't need no more salutes. You don't stockpile, you gather them, you repackage them, and trade for a higher pick in said round of your choosing. That's usually the practice at the back end of the draft. Everybody does that. And it's usually just more typical type. It's more typical of 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round to start going up, down, back, forth. Get 2 picks, trade those 2 picks, get 1 pick here, and then take another pick and a later pick, put them together to get maybe a mid-round, like that. Most teams very seldomly, good teams, very seldomly trade off the pick that they earn in the first round. Very seldomly. Unless you're the Cleveland Browns. And who wants to be the Cleveland Browns? I don't. Mendoza gives us hope. Hope. Hope is not really a good thing. Rorschach Raider, Michael Guerrero, Robert Gallery, 401 Raider Jeffs. So you can gather 4 additional picks between this year and next year, and you repackage them to move around where the player or players you want. Okay? Ask you this. What player? What player? What player are you going to trade back to get next year? Because it's easy to say that unless you have somebody and it's defined. There's a guy in next year's draft that I really, really, really like. And I think he can have a better pro career than college career. But I'm not going to say. Say that for another day. So tune in for the next 36 weeks on Friday, Raiders Pride and Poise, your show where we come in, all your takes count, and all your takes count. You can't trade shit if you don't have a trade partner. That's absolutely 100%. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, if we all of a sudden we get the Jets number one, let's say we trade back, we get their second and 16th this year, and they give us their number one pick next year. And then the Jets they win 7 games this year, and we win 6, right? So now we have what? The 9th and the 13th pick in the draft, right? But the guys up at 1, 2, and 3 that are in prime position to get a quarterback, that they need a quarterback more than what we do, right? Because we just won a bunch of games with Kirk Cousins. Now they can do what they're in a position to get the quarterback, because I can tell you right now, the Dolphins and the Cardinals, and I would say the Jets too. The Jets are going to suck next year, so getting their 2027 pick is probably not a bad gig. But you don't know. We haven't even played the season yet, so you don't know. So to bet on that is probably not a good thing. You could give them away, but you can trade them unless somebody is willing to trade. Exactly, and that's just it. I mean, you know, when Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels came out, those guys weren't trading those picks. They weren't. There wasn't enough on there, and I kind of, in a roundabout way, think that's why Cleveland tried to bring in that 5-year where you could trade out 5 years, so that it gives you more. It's like, oh, we'll give you 5 first-round picks. Our next 5 first-round picks. Let us come up. No. Stop. That's not the way the business is going to run. We start doing stupid stuff like that, then we might as well call ourselves the NBA. And I don't want the NFL to be anything like that. Their draft system it's ridiculous, stupid. 916 wow. Last time I checked, more times than not, Natty winning Heisman QB quarterbacks don't work out. Not always about the accolades. It's about their. Okay. Poorly. But what's the one name out of everybody's mouth when we start making these comparisons? Joe Burrow. Kind of weird, huh? So it's kind of like the Madden curse. You know, if you're ever on the Madden, you're cursed. I think it's more coincidence than practical, you know? So, and mind you, some of those Heisman winning, and not all Heisman winners win the Natty. There's a lot of Heisman winners that don't win the Natty. But of those that do, they usually go to teams that are horrible. I mean, you know, so and to be quite honest with you, 805, there's a lot of times I forget he even won the Heisman. It's like, oh yeah, he won the Heisman. It's not, for some reason, it just doesn't seem the same, you know. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think the Heisman is, I mean, we had a Heisman Trophy winner that went to the NBA the next year, you know, in football. So it just, I mean, the way they do the Heisman and how it's voted and things, it's basically, it's not so much what the guys do on the scoreboard, but it's kind of like based off of plays. You know, it's like, oh, he made some really cool plays. Let's give him the Heisman. You know, and it's not so much the whole, as you like to say, the whole body of work. But once again, there's a lot of times I forget he even won the Heisman. So with this mentality, if Mendoza was the only first-round QB option but was ranked best overall at, say, number 20 pick, should we reach and take him at number 1? Well, is he ranked number 20th in the draft? Might be on your board. But is he really ranked 20th? Because you got to remember, we're just fans, right? So in the long run, these walls right here, my room right here, in the long run, whoever we pay ain't going to affect these walls any way, shape, or form. Right? Might piss me off a little bit, you know, if they do something else. But I can tell you this, I'm not team trade back. So Michael Guerrero and you guys just start running out there and hitting the hashtag buttons with this. I am not team trade back. But if we do, I wouldn't be upset, especially at this point, because now I know there's a plan in place. But the problem is, we wait till next year. We can just wait till next year to get a quarterback. Which quarterback coming out next year is better than Fernando? We don't know, do we? Going into this season, Fernando was ranked number 5 or 6 of quarterbacks, potential draft eligible quarterbacks going into this season. And he leveled his game up. So, and now he's the number 1 prospect at the quarterback position this year. Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier. And I like Garrett Nussmeier. Don't get me wrong. I watched him play in 2024. The kid really impressed me. I thought he was a really good prospect. But if we were to use the formula of a guy, I'm just gonna forget it. It's eating me up inside. If we're gonna use the formula of most pro ready quarterback coming out of college that can sling it, athletic, manipulates a pocket, hammers his progressions, hammers it. He is 1, 2, 3. Not a real big fan of four reads. I'll be quite honest with you. Usually if you're getting to the 4th read, shit's getting really bad real quick. But you can get to 1 set, 2 set, 3, and then you watch his feet. His feet work with his read. Right? And how he does his progression. You don't even have to watch it. You can just watch his feet. You can tell where he's going with his progressions. It's in next year's draft. And if 805 is out there and listening, the only thing bad about this kid is he's on a shitty team. That's Lenore Sellers. He's the next, I would say, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. My player comp of him is Warren Moon, Joe Burrow. With a little bit of Michael Vick in him. A little bit. Because if you watch his games, watch him when he played like Vanderbilt. Now it's Vanderbilt. Don't get me wrong. But there's a couple games. What was the one game that I was watching? And I watched it live, and I had to watch it again later on, a couple days later, because I like to DVR when I watch games of certain teams. I'll DVR certain games. I'll DVR them. That's how I watch them over and over and over again. And I watch them silent. I like to turn the volume. I don't want to listen to the announcers because they're prejudiced. They start saying stuff that you're just like, I don't agree with you, but okay. But Lenore Sellers, man, that dude, he would be phenomenal in the run and shoot offense. I think he would kill it in the run and shoot offense. West Coast offense, wide zone would really, wide zone would be perfect. His play action pass is phenomenal. How he executes it. The dude is just solid, but the problem is he just doesn't, other than Nick Harbor and his little brother to throw the ball to, he didn't have a whole lot. The running game was not good, and their defense it was hard for him to do what he needed to do when his team would be down 20-7 before he had a chance to even start cooking. But once he starts cooking, man, that kid could be something special. But y'all want Arch Manning. I don't like Arch Manning. Sorry. I don't think he's going to transition to the NFL very well. Imagine if we sign Cousins, draft Mendoza, and start AOC. Yeah, I said that earlier. That would be crazy, man, if something like that happens. Like, Clint Kubiak's like rock between a hard place, and he's like, I got to start AOC because these guys aren't. He's not ready, and he plays better than him. Gives us a better chance to win. So it's like, oops, kind of messed that up. When we know he's not the known overall talent, but he's still close to number one. So yeah, he's there. Let's take him. Or if he is ranked number 20, would everyone want to take out of the number one to move back to number 20? Here's the deal. He's not ranked number 20. If you go and you combined all of the draft, everybody's draft analogies, he's in that 1, 2, 3, 4 section constantly. And most people have him, you know, and I'm throwing, you know, you got ESPN, NFL Network, Pro Football Focus, Yahoo, all of those. You throw them all together and you start to look at them, and it's like, where's he kind of fallen? And he's in that 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, because it's so. And Jeff, you even said it on your other guest on your show or co-host on your other shows has said the same thing. This draft at the top is not that good. It's not. There's a plethora of really good talent, but there's no real kind of guy, right? I mean, I say Caleb Downs is, but he's a safety. So just by default of his position, he's not going to be a number one pick. So it's kind of sad because I wish the Raiders would take him and I could buy a jersey and have my name on it legitimately without being some copyrighted jersey. That would be so cool. Let's see. Team trade back is wasting time doing homework pertaining to yesterday's test. Mendoza is the first pick. What do we do after that that's what's going to matter ultimately. And that's with every draft, you know, it's the meat and potatoes of your draft is what you do overall. Usually within the first four rounds, you want at least 2 bona fide day one starters to begin with. And I don't think it's a waste of a pick taking Mendoza at number 1. Absolutely not. I think the intangibles outweigh way more than what is being perceived. Okay. There are some people that I value their assessment. I value their opinion. But rock steady of watching it throughout the year and even at Cal, when I watched him at Cal, is if you just saw, because watching it live and then you just picture it as it's going. And then you go back and you watch it again to validate it. Just makes it that much better. I can tell you this, some of you guys on team trade back, the reason why you want to trade back, and I'm going to be point blank with you, is you don't like his freaking personality. That's why. Full stop. You don't like he's a nerd. It's goofy. Right? So there's a lot of guys that are that played in the NFL that are goofy. So what matters is when they put that chin strap on is what makes the difference. At some point in the teaching process, the student has to perform in actual situations. I think we should bring in Mendoza at mid to late season while Kurt is here. I think that's the game plan. Is it's going to be situational. I don't like we're going to give him a couple drives this game just to kind of test the water. No, you're not helping the rest of the team out because there's other guys on the team that have to develop. Definitely no 5th-year option. He's hitting free agency for sure. Let's see. I know. Signing bonuses are spread out through the entirety of the contract. So I guess it's the life of the contract so I take it if it's a 3-year contract, your signing bonus could be spread out over 3 years. Let's see. At halfway through the year, AOC 12 should be extended. Cousins will be gone next year. That's pretty much set, and I mean the writing's on the wall for that. Not worried about what happened in Atlanta. He was coming off an Achilles injury. Yeah, there's some physicalities to it as well. I totally understand that. But I also think too, Atlanta wasn't really set up for anybody to be successful. The way that whole program was put together. He played decent in Atlanta. Well, he did have some moments. Don't get me wrong. And mind you, I'm not opposed to Kirk Cousins. I think this is a great hire or a great pick, a great signing. It's perfect. But do we expect him to take us to the promised land? No, that's not why we signed him. We signed him to be that bridge quarterback, to be that guy that can help let us start to build the rest of it. AOC will just destroy another so-called NFL starter like he has his whole career. Cousins is just another body. We'll see. It'll play itself out. James Furpo's in the house. I guess we got to do it.
Raiders.
So there you go, James Furpo. Thanks for stopping in, brother. If you're not smart enough to start a quarterback making $1.4 million a season, and you keep bringing in these clowns at $20 million, $70 million, they deserve to get fired. Yep, exactly. And now 171. Yeah. I don't know about Spytek not learning lessons. He admitted to being wrong and letting too many players go during free agency last year. He brought in Cappa and then released him. Yeah, but also number one, his first year in the building, first few months in the building, I guess you can say. And he didn't quite have a grasp on it. The old coaching staff was gone, so he couldn't lean on them for input. And so he leaned on the new coaching staff for input, which in turn was Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll was about my guys. And so that's why you had Splain gone, Adams in, right? And then, of course, White, Tampa Bay, Spytek, because Spytek did the same thing. You know, he wanted to bring in some of his guys, you know, Kappa and White, you know, and then Patrick Graham with what's his name, the other linebacker that they played for the Patriots back in the day. Jack Kenna is talking to Rebel. Pena's got a YouTube Raiders Unleashed. Agreed. Kenna. Peace. I'm out. Thanks for coming in. Have a great Friday. Yep. Got to have another team to trade back. There's a YouTube link, Pena. I don't know what that is, but okay. It's just for other people's channels, so you guys can log in and subscribe and like those channels, which is why I got them as mod on my program here. My 2 cents is in the house. Thanks for coming in. Salute to Jack. Salute to us. Bueno. Everybody giving shout outs to my 2 cents. He could be a little noisy when he runs into the room, but yet he's more than welcome here. Which question was it, Jeff? Let me go back and see. Because a lot of it has to do with previous conversations and when I read stuff, so I might misspoken. Oh, she decides she just wants to pop in. Here I come. Do you have breaking news, Jeff? You can come up on stage. Okay, maybe not. Arch is not even that good. I bet he'll go first just for his name. There's a lot of hype behind that. A lot of hype behind it, but you gotta. Here's the deal. He went to Texas. I could see them sitting him in the first year behind Quinn Ewers. I can see that. but he set 2 years behind Quinn Ewers. And then anointed the third year. And really wasn't towards the end of the season. Now I got to give him credit. Towards the end of the season, he really started to step it up. I get that. But it's still wasn't enough for me. Just wasn't. So we'll see what happens this year. You know, we'll see if he can take Texas to the promised land and make them champions. Those are size like Josh Allen. Yeah. He's a big kid, man. Big kid.
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay. So apparently we can just go in here and do stupid stuff like that. All right. Hey, Jeff, pop in here real quick. Refresh my memory on the question so we can hash it out like grown-ass men. Jeff, bro, it doesn't matter who is there always wanting to trade back. Well, that's just it. And that's not how you do business. It's amazing how anyone could predict their argument based on achievements, winning the Heisman, Natty, beating quality defenses during the playoffs. Nothing is relevant, seriously. So so you misconstrued what I said. So you had me. I did not compare Mendoza to Michael. I was comparing Lenore Sellers had as a slight Michael Vick to him. And if you could watch his film, it's probably one of the hardest quarterbacks I've ever seen be tackled. They had a hard time tackling him. There was a couple games that were like that. It was like, good God. And if you look at his the way he's built, I mean, he's not like a. He's built like a tailback, I guess you could say. But man, he's good arm, his pocket presence, progression, and he runs a pro style offense.
I did apologize. I said that afterwards. I didn't realize you were talking about Sellers. I thought you were in the same sentence as Mendoza.
Show your face when no. You need to show your face when
I don't have my laptop open, and I don't feel like moving my monitor and all that. Even though it's on a swivel, I'm comfortable right now. Leave me alone.
Oh, I'll show your face.
That's not a good one.
Yeah, it is.
No, what I was saying earlier on the question was, I said, what if he was ranked number 20 and we needed a quarterback so bad, would we just jump the gun and take him number 1 anyway because we have the number 1 pick?
No, I wouldn't.
All right, then what would we do?
Huh?
What would
at
we
number
do?
1? Number 1, I'd take the best player. I would take the best player available.
But if you need a quarterback, though, we need a quarterback, though. Come on, we need that quarterback. Everybody wants us to take that quarterback. It's Mendoza. He's the guy. But he's technically ranked.
But he's not ranked 20th. He's not ranked 20th.
I know he's not right now. He's not even shouldn't be ranked number 1, and you know that. But
no, I don't. No, I do know. I do know he's ranked better than number. I know where he's ranked is right where he should be.
What, number 1?
He's in that top 3 to top 5. Guaranteed on any list that you go
number
to.
1. You're saying he's ranked number 1.
Well, in my book, you want my book?
Yeah.
He's number 1.
Hey.
He's number 1.
Yeah. And that's only because we're picking. You know that, right?
Jeff.
Stop.
Seriously, when we got done watching the Ohio State game, what did I tell you? We were watching the Ohio State game. He's going to be the number 1 pick. You said, yep, he's going to be the number 1 pick.
Of course he's going to be. Because we're picking first. If it was
we weren't picking
Arizona picking 1, he'd be the number 1 pick.
We hadn't even finished losing our games. We still had 5 more games to lose.
Hey, you knew we were going to take him.
I was hoping we would take him.
But at that point, in all honesty, Moore was still coming out.
Huh?
You know, everybody was still expecting him to come out too, so that kind of fucked everything up.
Who?
Yeah.
Dante Moore?
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with Dante Moore.
But that would have been another name in the mix that would have changed things up a bit. But this is your show. I'm leaving. Bye.
No, this is your company. Yeah, fool.
Yeah, it's your show. Bye.
Bye. Love you. So anyways, now that we got that out of the question, still got 13 people in here. Mendudu. Yeah, whatever. Mendudo sounds bomb. For in all fairness to 401 Raider Jeff, and I respect his opinion, I tried to get him to watch some college football last year. And he did, and he doesn't watch college football. He doesn't. It's so much different than when you watch it and you can kind of digest it and know, and you got to know the level of college football and what the expectations are. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, right? Right? Michael Jordan was not the Michael Jordan at North Carolina. He was good. He was real good. But he was taken number 2 in the draft that year. Okay. Michael Jordan was good. He was really good. Right. But it wasn't until the Georgetown game when he took it over that made him who he was. And he had a killer instinct. But anyways, man, hey, we've been rocking for almost 2 hours. You guys have been great. And no tensions whatsoever. It doesn't, in the long run, it doesn't matter what we do. Just like last year when we took Genty. Okay, I was not a fan of that at all, but we did. There's a lot of people, we got to take. And it was the same thing that we're doing this year. What I want is us as a nation to get out of this purgatory top 5 picking bullshit, get back to number 28 where we belong, and just win, baby. But before we do that, we have to have our pride and poise, guys. We have to be, let's be patient, okay? Let's just be patient. And our team is going to do things that I don't like. Our team is going to do things you don't like. But in the long run, it's our team. And so we have to be patient. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So before we go, the Raiders aren't building, they're executing a plan. Okay. Cousins. Is he a bridge? He's not the savior of this franchise. Mendoza. Is he the future, but not to be rushed? Spytech. Finally a GM with the blueprint. And we're starting to see it. So shout out to those of you guys that have come in. Alex 3915, thanks, brother. Thanks for coming in. Jack Kenna, thanks for coming in. Jack, you're a champ. I'm not bueno. Rorschach was in here earlier on his lunch break. Donuts Duncan, thanks for coming in, my friend. 805, thanks for coming in if you're still listening. Nick, I don't want to miss you. 6'5", 235 can move intangibles through the roof. He's better than that's just it. I think what I see and what I have seen, there's more good than you could throw bad at it. Okay. I'm just telling you. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's a personality concept that a lot of people, that he doesn't fit our personality as Raiders. That's what the problem is. Okay. And it's much like, and it's the same draw. And I'm going to defend Mekhi Lemon the same way. Everybody, because the way he talked at a press conference. So what? Who cares? Can the guy play? Where's his heart? Okay. Where's his heart? What kind of person is he off the field? Is he a yes, sir kind of guy? Does he keep his nose clean? Does he stay out of trouble? One of my favorite NFL players that played for the Raiders for a little bit was Marshawn Lynch. Some people would say that, they didn't like his personality. Okay. I actually do like his personality. And his mom is a hell of a person. But we can't pass judgment on the Clark Kent. Gotta wait till he gets in the phone booth. See what happens after there. But in all honesty, I had fun today on Pride and Poise. I have to check out now because it's Friday. It's going to be 1 o'clock. And as much as I'd love to stay in here and hang out with you guys, I got to go do things. But tonight, No Huddle, 401 Raider Jeff on his show, his call-in show. For those of you guys that aren't Raider fans, but you still want to chat, hit him up, dial the number. 401-830-9189. Plug it into your phone. Set it as a contact. So whenever he goes live, because we use the same phone number, Saturday night when we have Raider Nation Voices, when me and the big guy get to be on stage together. Yeah, exactly. And if you guys need a quarter or two to hit a payphone, let me know. So, but that's not what he's meaning. So, but he knows what I'm talking about. In all fairness, he's about to trade back. But that's not what's happening. We don't do that. So, like, subscribe, hit those notification buttons. So when we do go live Saturday night, 7 o'clock Pacific time, Raider Nation Voices, myself and the big guy. And we only got, 19 more days until the big day. And then we'll know from there. I also will be having a poll up on the throwing hat distance contest. I'm thinking the hat will probably be about 35, 36 feet. Another thing is to be aware that there is a possibility that we do trade back. I'm hearing that we do trade back. Unfortunately, when the commissioner gets up to the stage to make the announcement, the Jets are going to rescind the trade because we are the Raiders. And that's how shit rolls around here. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. Spend time with your family. And go Raiders.
Yeah, that's how we close it out. From the first take to the last word, yeah, you know we bring noise. Raiders run deep, that's that pride and that poise. Every take, every call, yeah, we gave it all. Raider Nation stand tall, never fade, never fall. Win, lose or draw, yeah, we riding the same. Silver and black heart, ain't no changing the game. So we out till next time, keep that fire.